Hey guys, welcome back to our channel, We're the Walls, and this is part 2 of a 2-part series on or about how Octavia and I broke up and got back together.
Babe.
What?
Why don't you ever let me do the intro?
Hey, I'm the introduction king.
The introduction king?
The introduction, the education, the introduction. I'm the king, alright? I'm the king in the castle, but she wants to do the introduction.
Hey guys, welcome to our YouTube. We're so excited that you watched part 1 of our 2-part series on how we broke up and got back together again. So, just to recap, where did we leave off?
So, in the last video, for those of you who haven't seen it yet, go check it out. The link will be in the description below. So in the last video, where we left off is basically me telling Octavia everything that I had been doing, and if you recall, it didn't go well. She wanted nothing to do with me. Like, after I let everything out, there was this point where we were just like, okay, it's over.
So then, fast forward, he applies for a job, then he moves from San Antonio back home.
Yeah.
Now, leading up to this time, Keaton and I remained friends when he went to Houston. We didn't talk every day. It wasn't nearly like what it was the time we were dating, but we still remained friends. We still remained in contact, and I was growing so much in my faith, but I felt like the one thing I was holding on to, and it didn't feel like it was consciously, it felt more subconsciously, but the one thing I was holding on to is what's going to happen with Keaton and I. Are we going to get back together? Are we not? What is that going to look like? And I really felt like that was a season where the Lord was asking me, you've trusted me with so much. You've given me so much. I want you to give me your relationship with Keaton as well. And it came right around the time where my friend gave me the idea of what her friend and her boyfriend did. The girl decided to not talk to her boyfriend for 3 months. And then at the end of the 3 months, they were going to come back together and see if they felt like they should be together. So originally when she told me that idea, I thought, well, that's stupid. Who goes 3 months without talking to their significant other or their boyfriend? And the more I thought on how crazy I thought it was, one night I remember talking to Keaton, or one day, I'm sorry, talking to Keaton, and I brought the idea to him just to see what he was gonna say. And when I was praying about it, I was like, you know what, Lord, I'm going to just bring it up to him and I'm going to let my decision on whether or not you're calling me to do this, I'm going to let that kind of, the discernment come with how he responds. So when I brought it to his attention,
I wasn't having it.
He was
I
not.
was not happy.
But his response to it was so poor, in my opinion.
I thought it was a dumb idea, and I mean, I was not happy. I mean, who wants to, here I am in this new town, new old, like where I'm from, where we're from, and now the one person that I talk to every day for the last 7 years of my life, I'm supposed to just be like, nope, not talking to you anymore, even after all that we've been through. Okay, yes. It was selfish. It
was very selfish. I'm glad as he's talking, he hears nothing but his own feelings and his own reasons as to why he didn't want to do this. I don't think he was thinking about me at all. He was thinking about himself, and he was thinking of what he wanted versus what we needed.
That's true.
And his response, honestly, I didn't have to pray about it anymore after that. So we did it. We decided to do the 3-month fast. We did not talk at all. If we needed to talk, if we needed to communicate, we went through elders in our church. It sounds dramatic, and that's a story for another day. But we went through elders in our church to communicate because we did not directly communicate at all for these 3 months. For me, it was something where I needed to do this for my own walk with the Lord. It was something that the Lord was calling in me to say, you need to let this relationship go. And I 100% let it go during these 3 months. And for him, I think that was just a good time for him to just completely reset. And completely start over, not with Octavia in mind.
And that was hard for me to do. It was hard for me to let her go, so to speak. The same thing it was hard to do in college, it was now hard to do as I'm doing this new job and I'm completely out of my element, but back in my element, you know, if that makes sense.
So at the end of the 3 months, towards the end, I can't remember exactly when, but towards the end of the 3 months, I remember the whole time it was so great. I hadn't thought about Keaton much at all.
How wonderful.
I hadn't thought about him much at all. But towards the end of the 3 months, then feelings about Keaton started to resurface.
Yes!
And that actually frustrated me.
Oh.
It was not something that brought butterflies, warm and fuzzies. It actually brought frustration because it felt like, Lord, you have asked for X, Y, and Z, and at this point I have given you X, Y, and Z freely. Why am I starting to think about this guy again when I have already given him to you? I have not picked it back up. I've already given it to you. Why am I starting to think about this guy again? Had no idea why, but I just know I started to think about him again.
And it wasn't because of me, because we weren't talking.
And it's not like the Lord, you know, he works in his own time. It's not like he ever came and said, this is why you're starting to think about this guy again. It was just, I started thinking about him again. I was frustrated with the Lord. In my prayers, in my quiet time, I would ask him why, and I would get no response. At the end of the 3 months, the 3 months was ending around Christmas. We decided that we were going to hang out for Christmas because I was going back home to spend time with my family, and he was already home. So we decided we would hang out for Christmas. We would meet up and just to hang out and see where we were, see how each other were doing. You know, that was pretty much it.
I remember I was so excited to see her. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna see Octavia. This was the longest we had gone without seeing one another. Man, since
for like 5 years, 6 years.
Since 2009.
Yeah.
And it's now 2014. Yeah, it was 2014 because that's when I started that job. So I was elated. So much so that I even wrote her a letter.
However, I remember you wrote me a letter. And you gave it to me for Christmas. Do you remember the letter?
No. Refresh my memory, babe. I don't. But
he makes the story even more and more romantic.
I'm a guy. I mean,
it's like no romantic part in this because clearly he doesn't even remember the letter.
One thing that I did do while on this hiatus from one another in this fast was I sought the Lord about her. I prayed, you know.
Well, now you remember.
I do remember. And there were countless times where I would pray, and more so because I wanted to hear from the Lord on her, on if while she was hearing from the Lord in other areas of life in general, not thinking of me, I knew that I did want to be with her. Unfortunately, it took, actually, no, that's not true. It didn't take getting to this point to know that I wanted to be with her. I knew that. It was just a matter of, are you going to grow up? Are you going to be a man? Are you going to honor her? Is what it came to. And so I remember one time I prayed about her, and if the Lord had me, I always thought I would hear this audible voice, son, she is the one for you, or, you know, like Mufasa talking to Simba in Lion King or something like that, and God would be like Mufasa's voice or something, I don't know. Well, it doesn't always work like that. Sometimes it's a still small voice, and I remember praying about Octavia, and the Lord said he will bless it. He said he will bless it, and that should have been enough, but I prayed again and again and again and again and asked, and another time he gave me a visual of my wife. I didn't see her face, but it's funny her hair's like this now because I actually saw that, and this is before we broke up, but still seeking the Lord about it. And so all that to say, while we were on this fast, I did seek the Lord about her.
So we decided to date again, and we decided if we dated again, we would do this in a way that the Lord would honor, in a way that he would be pleased with, not in a way that he would be disappointed with.
So what did that mean? How did that change from previously the way we dated to this new way of dating?
What that means was we decided to abstain from any type of physical intimacy. Now, if you guys remember from the first video, we had no boundaries within each other. We were physically intimate, emotionally all in. Well, in a sense, emotionally all in as we knew how to be.
Yeah. There was no guarding of hearts.
No guarding of hearts. We like playing wifey roles without the ring. You know, he was doing extra when he shouldn't have done extra. Mm-hmm. I mean, we just weren't protecting or guarding ourselves from any bad or wrong that could happen. We were just putting ourselves all out there. And so this time around, we decided to date again, but I was very adamant on we cannot do this unless the Lord approves of it, unless he honors it and he blesses it. And the only way to do that is to remain obedient to what his word says. Yeah. And his word says that you should not have sex outside of marriage. So we abstained from physical intimacy in all regards. We didn't touch. I mean, maybe we held hands, but I mean, like, yeah. We didn't touch as far as like being super intimate. We didn't kiss.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing, is we didn't kiss. And I mean, kissing leads to a whole bunch of other stuff. And gosh, that was very difficult. But we didn't kiss, we didn't touch. And just kind of going further with what she's saying, even when we went back to our respective places of living, if I would come and visit her, I no longer spent the night. You know, that was something that we put into place. We were just very guarded. We went from having no boundaries to having parameters. We went from having unlimited access to one another and living lives where it was just us two, to having virtually no access without other people in our lives knowing. And I mean, it may sound crazy and strange in a world where people want so much freedom and individuality and independence and all those things, but we thought that was actually the opposite. The more freedom it seemed like we had, the more heartache came with it. Whether that was me, us, or her, or whatever it was. And so simply cutting out physicality, the physical intimacy, changed so much. I mean, we were able to see each other for who we actually were.
So we had accountability, we had leadership, we had intentionality, and we had boundaries. And that turned our relationship from night and day.
Then I began looking for a ring and didn't tell her. Babe, show them what you got. Yeah, flash them, babe. All my single ladies. If you like it, then you should have put a ring on. I was getting there.
Oh my God. Wrong song.
Yeah, because she was single at the time, but then I put a ring on it.
Once I felt that clearance, once we decided we wanted to start dating again, we wanted to see if we could make it work and see what happens. I know for me, I didn't mention this before, but I know in processing dating him again or not, I know I didn't feel like I got the full clarity from the Lord. I felt like I got the okay, as in if I wanted to, it was okay. But I wanted to more so hear the Lord say, date him. And that's not what I heard. But what it started to happen for me is I really started to feel like if I don't try it again, if I don't go all out there, as in jump off the cliff and just take a step of faith. If I don't take a step of faith, would I regret this? Would I regret this decision? Would I go back and regret not having tried it with him again, not having dated him again, not seeing where it could lead? Would I regret that? Or could I just move on and not look back? And I came to the thought of I would regret it. I would in the back of my mind, he would be the, what if it could have, what if we should have, he would be that person. So I remember.
That's new to me. So
I remember we decided to date again. And then it all came full circle. The Lord reminded me of this vision of clean slate. And when he reminded me of this vision, that's when like it got super emotional for me. I couldn't explain what the Lord was doing in my heart, but it just all came full circle. And I painted him this painting of the vision I saw. And literally it was a painting of myself. It was a painting of him. It was a painting of the back of Jesus. And it was our life in front of us with the words clean slate on it. And it was this huge painting. Yeah. I gave it to him as a Christmas gift.
I mean, really, we could wrap it up right there. But so she did give me that gift, and it was probably the most meaningful gift I had ever received, ever.
We got married March 2016, and at that altar, in front of all of our family and friends as witnesses, including our pastors that helped us get to where we are, we kissed for the first time in over a year and a half, maybe 2 years. Yeah. And it was it was just the Lord's redemption.
Yeah.
At our wedding that now has led to a birth love child that we're about to have soon, and 5 years of marriage. So this is our story. Again, it wasn't always beautiful. It wasn't always roses. I still have to fight him sometimes off camera, but
we're best friends.
We love each other. This is us. This is the walls. And thank you so much for watching this video.